What's going on, guys? Welcome to today's video. We are going to be upgrading our water sprayer system today with a bigger tank and a different fuel or a different water pump to hopefully be able to have the sprayers stay on longer and also not have to refill it every 2 laps with just being on and off like for 5 seconds. So let me show you guys what we're working with. So if you guys remember, we were dealing with this 1 gallon tank, this 1 gallon universal windshield washer reservoir with pump, and it worked great. But the issue with that was I couldn't, once the car got hot, I couldn't just flip a switch, leave them on, because the 1 gallon of water would just drain like instantly. So I'd have to like leave it on for like a few seconds and turn them back off, and it was just a hassle. I'd rather just, once the car starts to get hot, flip them on and then just leave them on the whole time so it just stays cool and doesn't get hot again. So this is what we got to try to solve that issue. Now we have this 10-gallon water tank, and I know it doesn't look like it. I was a little shocked at first too, but this is 10 gallons. We're going to probably have it around here. I'm not too sure exactly where we're going to place it. And then we're going to make like a bracket that's going to hold the bottom side of this. That way it doesn't shift around. There's going to be that. There's going to be a fitting off of there, which is going to go into the pump, which is going to be right here. And then this is where we're going to fill. So we got to get a cap for that. But let me show you guys exactly how I'm going to do it. So the idea is, because we already have our wiring here, the positive and negative from the original setup, I'm going to put the pump, which has the wiring right here. That way it has a nice little bracket to hold on to. Also, the wiring at the bottom is already right there. So all I have to do is splice it together with a plug or something, and we won't have to extend any of the wires. Then we'll just have the pump here with a hose and a strainer going into the bottom there. And this, we have to get some type of adapter to go from this, because this is going to go here, to fit on to this little thing right here. So we're going to figure something out. Tomorrow we'll go to Lowe's, but for right now, we're going to focus on mounting the pump. So I'm going to mount the pump. It has this little bracket thing. And how I'm going to do it is I'm going to put rib nuts into my little delete plate here, and then just bolt it straight on with these bolts that I've already had placed. So if you guys don't watch the Eliminate channel, you might be a little confused with what I'm doing. We got some sriracha here. We are going to put the thing there to mark it. So as you can see, we got our sriracha dabbed on the corner of the bolts, and we're just going to grab this and place it where we want. I want to put it like around right here and just tap it and then pull away, and then you'll be able to see where our bolts are supposed to be. And I think I messed up a little bit, so let me double check that. Okay, so I redid it with 2 hands this time, and you can see we have a nice little square right there representing where this would be. So we can clean off the sriracha off the bolts and use that as our template of where to drill our holes. Now we got our pilot holes drilled out, we can go ahead and actually drill the holes for the rib nuts. So the holes are perfectly sized for our rivets. Just go ahead and time lapse through us riveting it, then bolting it on. Alright, so we got our basic ideas set up. We got the pump mounted like I showed you guys with the strainer, and it has this little barb type screw thing. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this with us just so we can find an adapter to go from here to fit into this tiny hose. And what we're going to do is this is going to end up bolting onto here, or if possible, if I can find one that just goes straight from this size to this, that'd be great. So this is going to put into there because that's obviously where the pump's going to feed out. Then we're going to put a little 90-degree fitting here, and then possibly 90-degree fitting with a barb. That way we can go from there straight into the strainer, to the pump, into the rest of the system that we already have. And we also need to go ahead and buy a cap for here, because this is where we're going to end up filling it up. But I still have to figure out how I'm going to strap it. I think I have an idea of how I'm going to do it. But we're going to take this to Lowe's tomorrow after work and figure out how we're going to get it all done. We just got back from Lowe's to get some plumbing stuff. So we have this 90-degree half-inch MIP fitting, whatever, that's going to go on the bottom, which is going to go from here to the pump. Then we have another one right here that we're going to put up here, and it's not going to do anything. It's just going to point up as the vent for the thing, because this needs a vent. I don't want it to just stay open because it might slosh out. At least this will give it a little bit more of a harder time for water to splash out of it. Then we got this, and we're going to try to use this as a reducer. We're going to try to probably grind the threads off of this so it's nice and smooth, so we can put the hose on there and a hose clamp probably. So I don't know if this is going to work, but we'll figure it out. But in the meantime, we're just going to get on putting the fittings on here, then we'll mount it on up. So we bent up some brackets. We got this flat stock aluminum, bent it down pretty much to cradle the tank. And then if you look in there, we got some washers to space out the bottom. That way it doesn't over tighten and crush the tank, but it is end up tight and there's not just free bolts where this can move onto. So that keeps it from coming up and down and side to side. Then up front here, we got this angle aluminum that we got. Drill 2 holes, put some riv nuts in all of them, and bolt it on. That way it can't slide back. And as far as forward, it's up against the firewall, so we don't got to worry about that. Now, it's nice and sturdy. All we got to do is plumb up the hosing, and we'll be good to go. So let's go ahead and get to that. Alright, so it's all mounted up. We filled it up with water. Got everything plumbed up. As I expected, my little idea of having this be the reducer did not work. As you can see, there's threads in there, so it's leaking out of the threads. I'm going to have to actually get a reducer from a 3/8 hose to a 1/4 inch hose, which is fine. So, in here though, besides it leaking, you flip the switch, water's coming out the front. So it's working as it should. The pump isn't as loud as I expected it to be, so that's good. So everything's working. I just got to figure out that reducer, and then once we get that settled up, it's all set. Alright, well that's gonna be it for this video. Us upgrading our water sprayer system. Now we got a 10-gallon tank. It's never gonna actually be filled to 10 gallons because it's just gonna slosh around and it's gonna leak out the fitting because there is a breather tube there. But say it's around 5 to 7 gallons that's actually in the car. Anyways, we got a new tank on there. We're gonna upgrade to the new nozzles, and once we get the car back together, we'll do that. But as of right now, we got the bigger tank, the bigger pump. That way now we won't have to keep refilling the tank every like 2 laps. So that being said, thank you guys for watching. Peace out. See you in the next one.